Here's what's coming up on today's episode of Circle Back.
You cannot pay women the same revenue share that a male player in the NBA would make.
They are just going to be paid more. If you don't think so, because they lost $40 million last year, one, you have no idea how business works, and two, you are wrong.
He'd have been in a bath by the time he was done with me.
Yeah, someone making $500K a year betting, I'm sure is going to be able to hedge out their potential life earnings with the $1,000 market. Like,
all along the way, he gets free passes because a jolly smiling fat guy can get away with anything.
This tweet should be like bronzed and put in Canton.
I was literally about to say this is the Mona Lisa to me.
Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. It's part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Kalshi. This is the show where we cover the latest and trending stories from gambling Twitter. We have a lot of exciting stories throughout the entire show today, so make sure you stick around for everything so you don't miss out on any of the fun. I am your host here on Circle Back. My name is Jacob Gramegna. I am lead producer here at The Hammer, and on the show today, it is our normal cast. First of all, it is CEO of The Hammer, pro sports bettor Rob Pizzola. Then we have seasoned NBA bettor returning here in Kirk Evans. And on the left, we have Geoff Fienberg, the 2006 winner of the Time Person of the Year. Do you know that, Geoff?
I don't get it, but I regret saying anything about my intro last week.
So in 2006, Time made you, as in everyone, Person of the Year. So not only is Geoff Person of the Year, as was everyone who was alive when that came out in 2006.
Congrats.
So,
thanks.
You like the one.
Yeah,
So congratulations
just
to you,
stuck
Geoff.
with whatever the intro was. What is it? It's usually like
Part of Mayo Media Network,
Yeah,
part
that's
of
cool.
Superfan.
blowhard Chargers fan. No, diehard Chargers
Chargers
fan.
Superfan.
Super fan. And there was another thing in there that was
Avid
like,
golfer.
No, there
Avid
was-
golf bettor.
I think there was one that was like really random when we did it online.
like went 0-3 on some.
Yeah, that was something from the StreamYard that was
Yeah.
from something old, but I didn't
Yeah.
know where it's from.
So I asked you about it, and then you were like, I don't know.
All right, let's move along.
Move along. We'll jump right into things here. The first topic for today is in the WNBA sphere because the WNBA had their All-Star game this weekend, and players came out to warm up for said All-Star game wearing shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." John Lefevre here says, WNBA All-Stars wearing shirts say, "Pay us what you owe us." LOL, the league operates at a loss and is subsidized by the NBA. And its players beat the shit out of the only player that fans pay to watch in Caitlin Clark. Now, we're going to save that Caitlin Clark discussion for the end of this segment. But further on the comments regarding the pay, some people made a little bit of fun of this. We have Hater Report, which is a parody of Bleacher Report called Hater Report. You can kind of deduce what sort of content they do. It says, Caitlin Clark, dead ass, should be the only person wearing this shirt. We had Jared Smith, who is active on gambling Twitter at Jared Smith Bets, who says, nobody wants the WNBA to succeed more than me, but wearing pay us what you owe us t-shirts in the middle of CBA negotiations when the league operated at a $40 million loss last year and has never been profitable is peak delusion. We had, from it, some of the players actually weren't prepared to wear these shirts. It just kind of happened. We have Kelsey Plum, who was in the All-Star game, said it was a very powerful moment as players. We didn't know that was going to happen. It was a genuine surprise. The T-shirt was determined this morning, not to tattletale. 0 members of Team Clark, so Team Caitlin Clark, were very present for that. We have Dave Portnoy, who talked about the value of a WNBA franchise and saying that these players should get paid more. Portnoy essentially talked about people throwing around the lost $50 million number, but nobody really knows exactly where that comes from because the finances of the league are a mess, tied in with the NBA and purposely murky. He also mentioned that if there was a WNBA franchise in Boston, he would have no problem paying $250 million to purchase that franchise. So he was in big support of the players starting to get a bit more money. But the best joke that came out of this, I think, was from Mike Vivian, who put a photo up of the players wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" and said, "You and the boys when the PPH stiffs you for sharp action." Making kind of light of the situation, but it is a pretty serious topic. Kirk, you're our biggest WNBA fan here by a long shot. You are an avid watcher of the WNBA. What do you make of this whole situation?
Yeah, so I think it's very odd to me how much, and I think this has always been true, how much people care about the WNBA players' salaries. Like, you don't really, you hear that in other leagues in terms of, oh, this player is getting this much up against the cap, it could hurt my team. But like, the NBA just renegotiated their CBA and media rights deal. Everyone got insane pay increases. You didn't really hear anything of it. So it's always been a bit odd to me how much people really care about the WNBA players being paid. But I also think it's like really important we kind of set out what we're actually arguing here, because I've seen a lot of weirdness on Twitter of like people saying different things. To me, what I'm saying is that I don't know exactly what these players should be owed, what they should make, but it's insanely obvious that they should get more money and they will get more money.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
The shirt should say, "Pay us what we're worth, not what you owe us."
I agree with that.
Because what you owe, like, what do you mean owe you? I didn't lose a bet to you. I'm paying you what the contract says I'm going to pay you. I'm paying you what our last CBA said. So maybe it should say, "Pay us what we're worth." It's going to be a very weird situation because the ugliest, you could see how the ugliest collective bargaining can happen as an entity is starting to be profitable after years of losing money. The people who are there on the ground want their investment back.
Yep.
And the girls want what they're worth. And they see, things, just to the naked eye, everything is on the up. So it's going to get ugly, but they're absolutely worth more than what they're getting today.
100% agree.
How
with
much
you.
is the question?
Well, okay, so the issue that I have with this topic as a whole is I feel like this is just another sports topic that is an extension of where we are at as a society, which is very polarizing extreme takes with no like happy middle ground type of take, right? So I mean, I typed in "pay us what you owe us" on Twitter. I went through literally hundreds of tweets just to. And, listen, I don't know how the Twitter algorithm works and what gets surfaced and what doesn't, whatever, but there are some very extreme takes one way or another. I think we can all agree that when you look at where the WNBA is now, there's no doubt it's growing in a massive way. We have expansion coming to Toronto. I think, like, when I was really surprised to see what the max salary is in the WNBA, which is $250K. To me, that seems low for what it is as a product now, especially how it's growing with betting, just the general visibility. But there's also the other side of like, well, the women should be paid as much as the men do, right? And I'm not turning this into a sexism type of issue or anything like that. This is just simple economics, right? Like, if you look at the revenue that the NBA generates relative to the WNBA, there is no comparison. You cannot pay women the same revenue share on certain things that a male player in the NBA would make because the league wouldn't exist anymore. There's just not enough profit to go around. So there should be some happy medium. To me, the floor should be raised on salaries. For superstars in the league, there should be some sort of incentives that possibly could get met where they can earn seven-figure contracts. And there should be stuff in the CBA that as the league grows, the pay structure also grows with the league. It seems that simple to me, rather than this clear-cut, yes, they deserve more money, no, they don't. They deserve more money as the league continues to scale. And I think it's as simple as that. And anyone, listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I feel like people just go to these drastic extremes all the time. And it's there is a very, very easy happy medium, which will probably come to fruition.
The problem is the murkiness of how much have they lost? Maybe that has been overblown. There's a murkiness to that. So to have a true 50-50 revenue share split means you have to know exactly what the numbers are and how much of like a sponsorship agreement is like they're paying X for, it's almost forced upon if you want to be in bed with the WNBA for this, you've got to take 10% of WNBA sponsorship inventory. So there is so many murky connections to actually know what the number would be for a true revenue share.
Yeah. So first on your point, I think it's important to say, and I actually haven't seen that much of like they should be paid as much as the men takes this time, but who knows about my feed. But yeah, if you think that the WNBA salaries should next year be as high as the men's salaries, you are insane. If you think that they shouldn't be paid more, you are also insane. The league's revenues are way up. They just signed a new deal that will way up.
Yeah.
The team values are way up. Like they are just going to be paid more. If you don't think so, because they lost $40 million last year, one, you have no idea how business works, and two, you are wrong because they are going to be paid more. But you kind of alluded to it, and it is very complicated. But the salary, like this is a very, very, very unique situation. One, the NBA owns and takes a lot of the cut. I think 40% of the cut of
Correct.
the WNBA. Then they brought in outside investors, which was scrutinized a ton at the time. I believe those outside investors get 20% of the revenue. So the players get 9.3 right now of revenue share. MLS players get 25%. The major sports get around 50. So it's very complicated because the league was losing a lot of money previously. So they probably did need to take this money. But if you're Caitlin Clark, your Paige Beckers, your Juju Smith coming in, even the older players, the stars, you're thinking, what? Like,
Why do I have to suffer?
Why do I have to suffer because the league was losing money in 2015?
Yeah.
But also, you have these contractual obligations. So it is a very, very unique situation, which then on top of it becomes even more strange that undeniably Caitlin is worth, a certain percentage of these gains. So and in a CBA, like Caitlin Clark, if she was paid fairly by the WNBA, $40 million contract probably a year.
Potentially.
She might be the most popular American-born athlete today.
I agree.
Today. So that is worth, sure, $30-40 million.
But the league would crumble under that type of salary.
Absolutely.
Right?
And also, you can't collectively bargain that one player is allowed to make 100x of the next. So it is very complicated, but the fucking dum-dums on Twitter, oh, the league lost $40 million last year, so they don't deserve a pay raise. It's like, there are a million businesses. How do people think Silicon Valley works? Like, it's a bit different, obviously, because the WNBA has been around for a lot longer. A lot of these companies are startups, but Uber didn't make a profit until 2023. Do we think people at Uber weren't making more money than they were in 2014, like the stars of the company? It's just not how it works. Like, it's just funny that Jared Smith says this is peak delusion, when actually he's the one who's delusional because he has no idea how these things work.
Well, are we not concerned, though, the players, the girls, the ladies themselves, they're sort of setting themselves up to take an L because their expectations might be higher than what is actually possible at this moment. Maybe make it a shorter term CBA so it can be redone again in 3 years.
Yeah.
But they are in for a rude awakening, and I don't say that to be cruel or rude. It just feels like their expectations for what's going to happen in this CBA are way too high.
I think it is. I think you're right. I honestly think it's a very, very hard situation for everyone involved.
Because there's economics at play, Kirk. Like this isn't about listen, I'm not a WNBA fan. I'm not even really an NBA fan. So it has nothing to do with women's basketball or anything. I just don't bet basketball a lot. So but I'm not living in like a delusional world. I realize the growth of the sport on my Twitter feed, the amount of people talking about it. It is definitely growing, but you have to meld that with the economic standing of the league as well. And it's unfortunate for some of the women that are helping grow this league now, like Caitlin Clark, who are superstars and want to be paid like superstars, but the league is not in a financial position to do that. And that's what it comes down to. So like there is going to be some sort of happy medium in this situation, right?
Players not happy.
Well, but You're right. Not happy.
And I could easily see next year there being 0 games.
There's going to be a long lockout.
I think it could be a lockout.
Which would be the biggest disaster. And I can see why it could happen, but they need to cut. There has to be a 2026 WNBA season.
And Caitlin is smart enough to play the long game, to be a good soldier with the girls here. She's, between Nike and her ability, I'm sure, to sell.
Well, sure, but she's one of few that can make money off
saying, but that's why
sponsorships.
she's in a position to be a good soldier
Yes.
and stand in solidarity with the girls, because she's got Nike, she's got, I don't know if it's Procter & Gamble or Unilever, like one of these home she is, like you said, what she is probably worth to these brands.
I would guess that 20 years from now, even further than that, we probably would look back in time and be like, Caitlin Clark is the most underpaid athlete, I think, ever.
I tweeted this. I think Caitlin Clark is one of the most underpaid people in human history.
Yeah.
Obviously not looking back after accomplishments of in this time, in this moment, we know
how important she is to the league as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people, and it's easy, and I've done it myself, have made the Tiger connection. She is actually so much bigger than Tiger to the sport, because golf was already golf. It wasn't Tiger. I'm not debating. But golf already had Jack. It already had Arnie. It already had these preeminent figures that brought the game to a certain place.
If Tiger didn't exist, Phil might have been Tiger. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Not quite, but
I don't
he
know.
would have been huge.
Yes.
I don't know that Phil, it takes bringing in the mainstream. Like Scotty Scheffler, he's great. Does he bring in casual? Mainstream. Tiger hit the mainstream.
Yeah,
Scotty Scheffler feels like he's just for golf fans and sports fans, not just mainstream people.
Got it.
Caitlin is full on in the mainstream lane, and it's her world now.
So why do all the players hate Caitlin Clark?
Well, okay, we'll get into this. I just want to make one quick point before that, because I didn't get to it. I just want to say, in terms of the players getting paid, kind of like you said, it's like if you worked for any business and your general salary would be $2 million, $3 million, but the business said well, we made all these poor financial decisions prior, so we can't pay you that much, but we know that's your worth. That's kind of an impossible situation, and that's why a lockout's so possible, because of they can't pay because of those financial situations. But obviously, anyone wants to get paid what they deserve. That's just how life works. But yeah, let's get to this.
Yeah, Rob, you were just saying it. There was a bit of a back and forth between two of our analysts here, between Geoff and Kirk over the weekend in relation to Caitlin Clark, because you talk about how popular of a figure Caitlin Clark is, how much money she's bringing into the league. It was pretty clear before she even started in the WNBA that this was going to be the case for Caitlin Clark. And it has seemed to me that there was a little bit of hostility generated from other players in the WNBA.
You don't say, look at Jeff's final remark there.
But we'll read through some of the tweets here. So it started off by you saying this, Kirk. If you followed this All-Star Weekend at all, specifically Stud Bud stream, you'd know that the narrative of all the players hating Clark is mostly fabricated. The thing is, you didn't follow it because you don't actually care about the league at all. And then, Geoff, you replied to Kirk and said, the other girls are putting on a good face for the All-Star. You tell me everything has been fabrication, and that's total bullshit. Lots of it is very real. And then it was a bit of a back and forth. Is there anything in particular I should highlight from this, from either of you?
Well, I think Kirk is saying here that there's been some clips that have been singled out, whereas there's 72 hours of content.
I don't believe everything that Clay Travis believes is a controversy.
Right.
But at the same time, there have been enough things. I'm sure this stream, which I'll, give you the floor to tell me about, was lovely. But there have been so many opportunities in a year and a half for girls on other teams or for the situation to have any behind the scenes interactions, even with Angel and Caitlin, not in front of cameras, that are real, that I'm a stream on All-Star Weekend doesn't mean I'm not going to believe a lot of the story. Not every story, and not every girl hates her, but it's not just the girls. There is a whole entity that tried to hold Caitlin Clark down, from Cheryl Swoops to Gino, that Connecticut coach, to Deanna Taurasi, to the Olympics, like there are so many entities around this league that tried to hold this girl down. To one of the owners when she was the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, being like, "Why isn't it all the girls?"
Right.
Like everywhere you turn, someone affiliated with this league was trying to keep Caitlyn in her place or trying to hold her down.
Yeah, there's just so many different facets to this that it's like we could literally have a whole episode on this. So there's some stuff I agree with you. The Nike thing was totally ridiculous. Like, but again, that's not the WNBA. That's Nike.
It's
that's
all
Nike's fault.
the ancillary stuff, though.
But
all
again,
of it.
my tweet wasn't about the league or other organizations. I'm talking about the players. So let's break it down in a couple ways. One, and this is the point I don't really understand why no one can kind of concede and see. If in any sport, especially if you compare this to a male sport, if in lacrosse, there was a lit fuse, incredible lacrosse player who was doing things that we've never seen before, and it caught fire, but they were the 8th best lacrosse player in the world, but the sport started to catch fire, of course, the players, especially players who have been in the league for a while, who are better than them, would feel some resentment to that player. That's like very natural. Obviously, it's a very different comparison, but I would say Jake Paul is kind of a similar thing. He's by far the most, or probably the most popular boxer in the world, but he gets way more attention than he deserves based on his talent. Caitlyn is obviously far more talented than Jake Paul in comparison. Don't get me wrong that I'm saying that.
Respective sports,
but
yeah.
I'm just in respective sports. But I'm just saying that it's pretty natural to see some resentment because imagine if you were the best women's basketball player in the entire world and the 5th best basketball player is getting paid 50x what you're getting paid.
And people are only talking about her.
1,000x the attention. Of course,
Yeah.
there's going to be some resentment. But I think there's 2 buckets here. Last year, I would have agreed with you a lot more. There was a lot more resentment. But that's kind of natural. She came into the league, she was a rookie, and we've seen that with rookies before. Even LeBron James, the Cavs criticized him when he was coming in. His teammates were criticizing him. Now this year, I can only address what actual things have happened. This year, there's been 2 real things on the court. She got a flagrant against Angel Reese. She pushed her in the back, and then it was a big thing. And then J.C. Sheldon, a pretty random guard in the league, who I think had a rival with her in college as well. That was really dirty, and they hit her. But otherwise, it's kind of 60% of the league voted her as the face of the league. If you look on this stream, they're on the mic when the event's ending. Where's Caitlin Clark? We need you to open up the clubs because they know how much she runs stuff. She comes on the stream. She's like, I love you guys. I'm watching you guys. Obviously, these are only 2 players. It was a 72-hour live stream of All-Star Weekend. So they were all there. Yes, do some players have resentment for her? For sure. But also, if you only follow the league through Twitter clips, and Twitter wants you to think that everyone in the league hates her, you're gonna think they hate her. Here are 2 perfect examples. Sorry, I know I'm going on really long here. Okay, one, there was a massive story recently that the players voted her 9th for the All-Star game amongst guards. That was a big story.
I saw that, yeah.
One, it wasn't true. They only have 4 votes, so it's not like they had her 9th. But way more importantly, she is having a bad season. She's played 9 games and hasn't been very good. 9th was overrating her amongst guards this season. People said they ranked her the 9th best guard. That's not how All-Star voting works.
Right.
It's in no sport. If you're injured for most of the year, Luka Doncic this year, he was hurt all year. I'm not sure if he was an All-Star, but he didn't make All-NBA because he was hurt. That's how it goes. Then the story we had in here of Kelsey Plum.
Yes, that's what I was going to refer to.
There are a lot, this quote.
It just seems like
This
so
quote.
random for her to say not
Team
to
Clark.
tattletale.
What do you think Team Clark means?
I would get.
Caitlyn, maybe her rep, I don't know.
Yes, that is what people are saying. Entirely not true.
Right.
Entirely fabricated. There are 2 captains for the WNBA All-Star team.
Oh, I see.
Nafisa Collier and Caitlin Clark.
So it's the other team as a whole.
Was the other team. She wasn't talking about Caitlin at all. So if you follow the league through
Yes.
Twitter clips, you're gonna fucking think it's crazy because the stories are fabricated.
I agree. Like I said, just because Clay Travis tweets something doesn't mean that I think that it is happening. And of course, like Caleb Williams, we know the big boy sports. Rookies putting a rookie in their place.
Yeah.
It felt last year was way more than like the male sports, and it felt like the worst qualities of women: petty, resentment, jealousy, and it has left a lingering taste. And that this league as a whole and the leaders of this league did not prepare the players of this league for what was happening. And the worst thing, and I know maybe they've improved on it, but where I left, this is not a serious league. It is not a real league, Kirk, was last year when the WNBA Players Association wanted to ban Christine Brennan from access to the league. Yeah. Christine Brennan is one of the most like famous female advocate sports reporters ever. All she's done is to stand up for women, and all she was doing was asking a question about an incident on court that would happen to any man if there was that incident on court. And these girls aren't ready for it or don't want to, they want preferential treatment. Like, if you want to be sports and real, we're going to literally nitpick the shit that happens. And then to say that we want someone who's asking real questions.
Yeah.
Like Christine Brennan went into the Augusta National Press Room and asked Tiger Woods about anabolic steroids. She's afraid of no one and nothing.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, this league isn't real. And there are a lot of girls, sure, there's no doubt though. Like, I'll be honest, I brought an umbrella for you to, piss on me in the rain, but I thought it was pretty good. I don't think you pissed on me. I think it's raining. You told me it's raining, and I do believe a lot of it is manufactured.
I got to do
and
some
hyped up.
self-reflection because I can't rebut anything. You know way more about the league than I do. I live
through Twitter.
Exactly like you mentioned. I'm not a WNBA fan. I don't bet the sport. I don't follow it, but I see enough through my Twitter feed where I feel like I can make somewhat of an informed opinion because I'm seeing so much of what's happening, but the lens in which it's being delivered may be exaggerated or biased. Because that quote, like the Kelsey Plum thing, I saw that. I'm like,
it's
this
mega
is like a
viral.
fucking deep shot at Caitlin Clark.
But
I
even
didn't really
the girl
understand.
beside her didn't understand what she meant.
Sabrina rolled her eyes and said, "Why'd you say that?" Because she was throwing Sabrina under the bus. She's like, "Why are you telling people I wasn't there?"
Yeah.
Because she was on the other
Yeah,
team.
no, I am saying like seeing the quote and none of the context. Sabrina's reaction made it be like, "Why are you trashing Caitlyn? Like, we're in a moment here."
But yes,
Like, I'm saying that's what it visually
feels
felt like.
like.
Yeah,
like.
sure. But
Yes.
but that is like kind of a lot of my point of like so many people have comments on this but don't follow the league, and then when you see things out of context, it's very easy to think things and get it in your head because like, those are two examples of things that are like obviously not true. The All-Star vote and the Kelsey Plum quote. Like the Kelsey Plum quote, even if it was like kind of a stupid thing to say, I don't know why she said that. It had nothing to do with Caitlin Clark.
I didn't realize people took it that way. Isn't it obvious that for All-Star games, they often have team captains, like Team LeBron, Team
People are just seeing the quote,
no.
and that's not even going to basketball fans. That's going to people. I will say, to fight you a little, it's almost like, what do we say when someone claims to be like a great handicapper? Just show us a documented record. Like, can't you show us more? We wanted to see Nadu fly. Like, bro, can't you just get on a plane?
Yeah.
Can't you fly? I don't know why it's so hard. The league unfortunately, the league needs to go above and beyond and show, this is going to sound horrible, and show that the girls, like, I don't know, they need to almost make a campaign about it. I know that might turn people off, because they set themselves back and
Let's
it turned a
finish
lot
up
of people off.
Yeah. Okay,
That they need to go above and beyond to show that it's actually we love her.
You finish this off.
Yeah,
in a
let me.
second, Kirk.
Okay, I've got a couple points here. One, just going back to the point about like it being resentment. I feel like in men's sports we do give so much like leeway of like these players are.
They're better at
insane.
hiding it. Men are better at hiding jealousy.
But jealousy, yes.
Yeah, they're better at hiding it.
But we give them so much leeway in like athletes are insane people. They're so competitive.
Yeah.
That in the men's side, you'll see so much leeway. Fine, maybe this is manifested in a bit of a different way, but I just feel like that credit isn't given to the women's side because like I think naturally if someone's attention is so outsized, it makes sense. But I've already said that point. But I do agree with you in a lot of ways. The WNBA makes very puzzling decisions often. The WNBA media, especially the more traditional ones, they actually disrespect the players by being too favorable and not willing to say anything mean. I don't know Christine Brennan, so I can't comment on that. But I do agree with you in a lot of ways. But it's like the realm is kind of here, but then so many people's actually opinions are way over here because they don't know anything about the league. So like, if you want to be here with your opinion of how much they don't like Caitlyn, sure. But like, once we start going into like this craziness of just total misconstruing of what's happening, then it's ridiculous. And the last thing I'll say is, I agree with you in terms of they should try showing, like players liking Caitlyn, embracing Caitlyn. But you also do have to remember, like, as much as Caitlyn is the star, you also, there's so many other players. So it is, again, a bit of a tough balancing act that no one shows any grace to the WNBA. They either say they're giving way too much to Caitlyn or way too little to Caitlyn.
I know we got to get out, but there's this big thing about players being mad that like girls are wearing a Fever jersey to like non-Fever games. I'm sure there were NBA players that were mad seeing a Michael Jordan jersey. Like, I'm sure there was like a more than Vernon Maxwell. Where it was like,
I mean,
what?
these days, like LeBron, Steph
Yeah, like,
Curry
what is
jerseys,
this?
you'll see those
Right?
everywhere.
So I know like now there's cameras and it's clippable. I'm sure that was very real and there was resentment even for Michael. So I'm not naive enough to think that it's just not all what it's made out to be.
I will say, and I know Jacob wants us to get on here, I will follow the WNBA more closely and make more informed opinions, provided you send me your WNBA bets moving forwards. If you can make that happen, I can be way more informed on these topics going forwards.
All right, great way to
This
end
guy's
it off.
ROI's through the roof.
Jason was telling me all through Chicago, we got to get to Rivers. Kirk's got these picks for me.
You did message me asking.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move to our next topic. Speaking of Jason, he brought up on the show a few weeks ago the idea of the life hedge when it came to possible nuclear warfare, where if you live in an area that might be threatened by nuclear war, if you can bet on it happening, it's a bit of a life hedge situation. And somebody else kind of brought this to the forefront on Twitter recently, and that was Dustin Gooker. Hopefully I said that correctly.
Gauker, maybe, I think I've heard
could
him.
be.
Yeah.
He says pro poker players and sports bettors can now hedge the gambling tax loss deduction on Kalshi, because Kalshi has a market up that says, will a bill become law that removes/changes the gambling tax provision that the One Big Beautiful bill had? And then at the time of this screenshot, it was a 50% chance. Not a huge amount of liquidity into this market from the screenshot that I pulled, but doesn't mean that the liquidity can't enter this market. What did you think when you first saw this one, Rob?
Well, it's a 50-50 chance. That's what caught my eye right away on a very polarizing topic, and people who have very strong opinions on whether or not this law will actually be removed at some point. I know there's bipartisan support now for the removal of this, so I would have figured that the odds would have been higher than 50% probability now. But I do like to live like through markets a lot of times. That's kind of what I love about, and obviously Kalshi sponsors the program, but it's kind of what I like about Kalshi every day is I'm spending 10 to 15 minutes on site just going through possible life events that could impact me and what the probabilities of them are. And this one being a coin toss, it doesn't give me any, it's not going to help me sleep better at night with a lot of the U.S. partners I deal with and stuff like that. So actually what first intrigued me about this was the 50% chance. The second was the possibility of Flup betting into this market and losing so we could continue to use that for content going forwards as well.
He's been very adamant that there will be a revision or some sort of change. So we will see.
I don't have much of an opinion on this actual market, but I feel like I've had like a be careful what you wish for a moment of like a lot of people who report but don't bet used to not comment on it at all.
Yeah.
And I thought, it would be really good if reporters started using markets to kind of inform their decisions or inform their opinions like you said. But in reality, these people, and I'm sorry to do this to you, Dustin, because I've also criticized you before. they have no idea how markets work. Like, how much did you say the liquidity was here?
It's 1,166.
Like, people don't recognize the order book is as important as that big percentage.
Great
the
point.
order book is everything.
Yeah.
If there's been $1,000 bet and there's no one willing to, like, can now hedge the gambling tax loss deduction. Like, yeah, someone making $500K a year betting, I'm sure is going to be able to hedge out their potential life earnings with the $1,000 market. Like, that, it's just such an incredible lack of knowledge for someone who constantly is talking about these prediction markets. Like, also, how much, and this guy's done it before as well. How many times do you see, like, he talked about this with Zoran Mondani. It was a 60% chance and a 40% chance. The 40% chance wins. It's like, oh, they got it wrong.
Yeah, the market got it wrong. It's like, no, it's just a probability.
That's not how markets work. If there's a 40% chance of something and it happens, the market didn't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes markets do get things wrong of, like, if you price something a 40% chance and it's a wild runaway, or there was clear information that like the market had priced it wrong, sure. But, like, you can't just say there's a 40% chance of something and then, like, if there's a 51% chance of something happening and it happens, oh, the market's right. If there's a 49, then it's wrong. That's just not how it works.
By the way, in that market, Cuomo's picking up some steam. Cuomo's up to, like, close to 20% now. And I think I'm on record as saying, like, 94 cents Cuomo is a fucking great bet.
He's not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't think he can win. They'd have to coalesce, but he's doing better. He realized something.
He jumped
but
at him.
Yeah.
There's a very low turnout,
Yeah.
but I don't think he can win. He's still too poisoned of a candidate. But I'm not. I didn't say it.
I mean,
96
Mamdani,
cents.
he's not really a communist like people say, but he's like, you know, borderline. That's a lot of baggage as well, Geoff.
Yeah, New York's a zoo, and they'll get the concrete jungle that they deserve.
All right, time to move on to our next topic. Actually, before we do, a reminder, if you do want to sign up to Kalshi, you can do so with the QR code that is on screen now if you're viewing, but also you can go to the link in the description in podcast form or at any point throughout the YouTube video. Get signed up to Kalshi today. Not a lot of liquidity in this market that we showcase here, but tons of liquidity in a lot of these other unique markets. So a great product for you to check out and get involved with. We're going to go now into a bit of a gambling PSA that was brought up by Fake Sharp at @sharp_fake. And we had the last segment where there was a discussion around hedging, if you're a life hedge essentially for the one big beautiful bill. But this user wants to point out how difficult it is to actually make even a career out of gambling as a whole. They say, PSA, it is difficult to win in gambling, and it's extremely difficult to make a career out of it. Anyone saying otherwise is either living in their own bubble and or delusional. Rob, as somebody who is making a living off of gambling, what do you think on a topic like this?
Well, okay, I actually love this tweet, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, but I do want to give a shout out to Fake Sharp, because Fake Sharp is an avid viewer/listener of this program, and I had previously told a story about being banned from the state of Virginia and being really scared about going through Virginia and flying
a speeding
over.
ticket?
Yes, and Fake Sharp actually did reach out to me after that and said, hey, I'm in Virginia. I got some connections to some law enforcement here. If you want to get that sorted, reach out to me. And we have since sorted that out.
Wow.
No way.
Bobby Pizza is now back. Welcome back in the state of Virginia.
The Commonwealth of Virginia.
So, you know what? Maybe a Virginia Beach trip or something at some point.
Celebrate?
May happen to celebrate. So appreciate that, Fake Sharp. I do agree with this. I think a lot of what's happening nowadays in this space, especially with all these marketing tools in the form of TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, where you can only put good things out there, you basically have this survivorship bias that exists, right? Where you have one person who comes out and says, you know, I've been able to make a living by betting sports, doing X, Y, Z or whatever. But for every one of those, there's like 100 people who have tried that and failed and are not going to let you know that they failed in the process. And it's also really easy in the early going. I don't want to use the word easy, but I actually truly believe it is, just by following like some very basic educational practices. Like even if you're an odds jammer, as an example, or someone who just knows how to look at an odds screen, pick off bad prices or whatever, you can make a pretty decent amount of money in the early going. We see a lot of people do this, but then it's really hard to scale that because you lose accounts, people start to stiff you, edges that you previously had go away because more people are in tune with it. So I do think that it is extremely difficult to make a career out of it nowadays. Even though there's a ton of outs available to you, at some point to make a career out of it, you kind of got to scale, or you got to be able to operate at the same level that you did in the early going. And because of a lot of the practices that are put in place by sportsbooks nowadays, this is a tweet that I saw, and I was like, I want to include it on the show because it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's kind of natural as a person. Once you become an expert in something, you kind of forget how much you've learned, and then you're like, oh, this is actually easy. But like, you don't remember that like a person who doesn't gamble at all or is a losing gambler doesn't know, the years of experience you've had. I think it's true of like pretty much anything. So I think I see a lot of people being like, oh, this is actually quite easy. But it's like, it's easy because you've learned so much over the years and have like gained all this experience. So yeah, I think it's a good tweet with kind of the caveat of like, if you can get on the right path and find odds jam, winning early is somewhat easy.
I think, sorry to cut, go ahead, Geoff, make your point.
I was going to say, it's easy to see how someone who's like never been limited by like a book might not like have a full picture of how hard it is to go out there and do this. And anytime I like think about you guys that pro bet or Pizzola, or if I get them in a golf cart and it's a long day, so much of my like questioning is about like, everything matters, right? Like it's always about getting the best price, even like 2 cents matters. Of course, half points matter. I'm smart enough to know that. But like you're playing sometimes on little margins, and like I'm like, Rob, how much money are you getting made if like this guy's stiffing you for that much and you're still killing it? Like how much you got to make it to like even withstand all the guys that are going to stiff you and screw you over? I'm like, wow, you must be doing good, because I'll be with them for 4 hours and I'll hear about 2 people stiffing them over.
I think that this last sentence where he says anyone saying otherwise is either living in their own bubble and or delusional. I definitely think delusion is a huge problem with the space, because you get a lot of people who are making, again, a career out of selling picks, whether that's Discord or whatever. They're making a career out of it, but they conflate that with winning at gambling, and they're not the same thing. Those are very different things. And also, I do think a lot of people go down the path of winning in a way that's not sustainable, or just getting lucky and thinking that that's a sustainable path going forwards, right? So someone who has like a really good month and they're like, oh, here's my picket, I won 30K and this and that, but you realize that like 28K came from winning a parlay where they didn't even have an edge, and they don't understand the variance of sports. I think that he says it is difficult to win in gambling. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't. I think there's a very easy path to win in gambling, but I do think it's extremely difficult to make a career out of it. I do.
Agreed.
Yeah. We'll go to the comments in just a second here, but before we do, we'll just take a 30-second break. Hey everyone, Jacob Gramegna here, lead producer at The Hammer and your host of Circle Back. Do you want to know the best way to support what we're building here? Check out our sponsors. Seriously, we are selective with who we work with. We only want to team up with brands who offer actual value to bettors. We're not shilling junk, no miracle picks, and no knee brace endorsements. Just yet. If you enjoy the show and want to help us keep growing, then check out the links that are in the description and see what we've got lined up for you. Every visit helps, especially when I have to upgrade Kanish's mic setup for the 10th time this month.
I'll put it that way.
First comment comes from @JohnVresix. This is in reaction to the previous week's show where we talked about William Kassouf getting banned from the World Series of Poker. We were in agreement on this show, and there's more agreement here from this user saying Kassouf is a bully who prods and pushes until everyone pushes back against him. And he's complaining about how unfair he's being treated. Speech plays a part of poker, but it can be done in a way that doesn't infuriate every table he's at. Good for the World Series of Poker. Get this guy out of here. You had pretty strong words, Geoff, for William Kassouf last show, so I'm sure you're in support of this.
I don't regret any of my opinions Although there was some time like after the show, before the show came out, where I regretted like some of the verbiage I used to
You would
describe
soak all of his stuff.
his supporters. But yeah, no, I'd have soaked. He'd have been in a bath by the time he was done with me. I'd have been spilling on him left, right, and center by accident.
Yeah.
Hot, cold, whatever. Even his bag. I'd have been holding the drink, got excited about the hand, not just knock it over. His bag, whatever belongs you have at the table, done. I'd have made his life a living hell. I understand that's easy to say because like the poker players are trying to concentrate on the poker.
Yeah.
I'm saying it as someone who's like just thinking about playing a war with this guy. So I understand it, but yeah, fuck that guy.
And, Kirk,
banned for life. Life.
You weren't able to get the full opinion. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I haven't followed it all that closely. I watched a YouTube video on him though. He seems just truly unbearable,
Yeah.
and like I think there's a bit of an entitlement of like thinking that you deserve to be able to act like that and be able to participate. So based on everything I've seen, I'm totally good with kicking him out.
An entitlement and a delusion as well. Like to think that that's okay and then say like, oh, this is speech play when it's clearly not. Like it's I know, listen, I'm not pouring drinks on this guy like Geoff is, but I would probably have approached it like many of these players did at the table where like you get the pit boss involved. You say like, this is not acceptable behavior. They warn him. And then afterwards you get confrontational with the person. You start calling the clock. You start doing things because this person has made your life a living hell at the table. Like that goes beyond poker in my opinion. Right. And what really got me about the whole thing, like you want to get information, extract information from someone, talk to them while there's a big hand happening. Okay, I can get that. But like when you are intentionally tanking and stalling and you are taking 6 minutes to fold a hand that is a very, very, very clear fold just to be a shit disturber at the table, I have no fucking patience for anyone like that. So I agree. Good for the WSOP. Get this guy out of there. And I would not be opposed to a worse ban for this guy because I think honestly, he doesn't contribute anything to the poke. People are like, oh, eyeballs. He brings in eyeballs, but not in a good way. Like, it's embarrassing for the game. Like, when I watch this, I'm literally embarrassed for this guy.
Did you see what the USGA or what Oakmont
Wyndham.
did to Wyndham Clark?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said,
Damn right.
even let's go. If he wants to play, like he's got to go like check, like a 5-step box to even consider
So,
Agreed.
bringing him back in.
So for context, Wyndham Clark was a guy who destroyed some of the lockers at the Oakmont Country Club, is it called?
Yep. Yeah.
And they banned him from the facility until he meets the checklist of
And
apologizing.
on the show, Geoff, I believe, if
Was
I
in
remember
support of
correctly,
that bet.
said
Yep.
that
Yeah.
that's what they should do.
Yeah, but they took it a step further. They literally said he had to get therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Well,
probably
you know
does.
what? I mean, the guy fucking caved in some lockers. I think maybe some therapy's not a bad idea, honestly. Like, I hope for the best for Wyndham Clark. I don't really root against
Had a
people.
great open.
With the exception of a few people. But, yeah, I don't know.
The second comment that we have up is from Defo Radio Crew. Says, I still can't figure out if the New York Times piece was written tongue-in-cheek or straight. This was the article we covered last week, which talked about Mozzie in particular, but referenced Elf, referenced Amanda Vance, and portrayed them in a light that we didn't necessarily agree with on this show. But the theory from this user is that perhaps it was a bit of a sarcastic article. First, you have the Vance part. Then the ending of the article is, quote, oh, by the way, the guy we spent 2,000 words talking about was arrested for 14 counts of fraud right before we went to press. My guess is they did the research to write it straight, and then Mozzie's arrest before print sent the writer in a more sarcastic direction. If that's the case, they did a disservice in that it wasn't a parody enough to be clear that was the intent, which is really irresponsible. Rob,
Yeah.
you shared a bit of a similar theory. Do you think it's possible this was written sarcastically almost?
So I think it's possible. I think it's improbable as well. So I've read it a few times, and I do like this theory of that they probably did the research to write it straight, and then maybe over time they realized, hey, maybe it's not, and inserted some things. I would find that so peculiar for a writer to do in like a long editorial New York Times piece. Like that wouldn't make sense to me at all. So, like, again, I think in terms of probabilities, if I was setting the Kalshi market on this, I'd say like probably 95% chance that this was written as a real piece. But I would leave it open to some possibility that there was some sarcastic stuff thrown in there, or the entire piece was just written as I don't know. It was a really weird article, and I still don't know exactly what it was going for.
Yeah, no, I agree. It would be weird if like the New York Times wrote an article that like wasn't clearly sarcasm, but was sarcasm, but most people didn't pick up on that.
Like if
Just
it's satire, it should come across.
exactly.
Like,
It
you
should be
read
able to
it
read
and
through it.
it feels like satire, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what to make of it, because it would be like, it'd be like someone who never tells jokes telling a mean joke and then being like, I didn't mean it, we were all joking. Like, I don't know, your brand isn't that.
Yeah.
So how can you expect us to pick up on it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe to people who have like no concept of sports betting, it felt that way. But if you actually sort of understood or any familiarity with the characters at hand,
See, I think
feels
it's
like
the
the
opposite.
opposite, yeah.
Exactly. I think it's like if you really understand the space, you read that article and you're like, wow, this is like the time that they inserted a quote from Amanda Vance to like talk. Like it reads as so insane that it almost feels like it has to be satire. You know what I'm saying? Like if you really understand the space.
Yeah, but if you don't understand the space, it would probably be harder to pick up that it's like all ridiculousness. So I don't know.
I don't think a normal person reading the New York Times could have read that article and deduced it was.
it wasn't just an article. It had like artwork that accompanied
Yeah.
the cover.
I know this was a big piece. It was a huge piece.
Like a feature, yeah.
I know.
It's absurd.
I'd find it hard. I'd find it hard to believe it was written sarcastically as well. Last comment here, specifically for you, Geoff. Omarion Hampton is the Chargers running back one, Najee number two, because Jason was suggesting that Najee was the clear choice for RB1 during last week's episode before he maybe blew his eye out with some fireworks. But what do you think on this one?
I'm not doing Chargers radio. Camp's open every day. Knock on wood is a healthy day.
I've
right.
never once seen Jason do a video where someone didn't post a comment disagreeing with him on some sort of take. It actually drives a lot of engagement. If you disagree with Jason's takes, let him know on the Forward Progress channel. Just let him know in the comments down below.
All right, let's get back into the true topics that we have for this show. And speaking of disagreeing with people and maybe people who don't get things right all the time, we have a comment here from Joe A_NFL that was actually resurfaced by DraftKings of all accounts. And it was Joe A who wrote, the Commanders not only traded away a good starting quarterback in Sam Howell, but then passed on an elite QB in Drake May to draft a bad QB in Jaden Daniels, compounding lost opportunities. Bookmark this tweet. I want to revisit in 8 months and again in 20. This was posted April 26, 2024. So we are well past the 8-month threshold. We are going to slowly be approaching that 20-month threshold. But this was DraftKings quoting somebody who said, what's the worst tweet of all time? So fun to dunk on a tweet, as we always know. 218 bookmarks on this also shows that a lot of people like to dunk on this from time to time. But then Joe A brought up a reply that said, then stop limiting my bets, pussies. DraftKings responded with the gif of LeBron, kind of sarcastically fearful of the response, if that's a good way of describing it. Like, oh, what are you going to do? But Mr. Limited said, who's been a guest on Circles Off for an interview previously, a very good interview, might I add. I'll link that in the description. Says, I've never seen them respond to any of these. How long until this gets deleted and this intern gets a talking to? Do you think this was a bad look for DraftKings, Rob?
Do I? No.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, I mean, go back to the previous tweet. This tweet should be like bronzed and put in Canton.
I was literally about to say this is the Mona Lisa to me.
So I have to give some background. Joe A, NFL, I've had him muted for a long time. I don't mute or block a lot of people on Twitter.
He's blocked me.
He, on my Mount Rushmore of like worst follows imaginable, he's there for me because he will look at this tweet and he actually will not see anything wrong with it because in his mind, he is the only source of truth. Nobody else's opinion matters on anything ever. So for him, Sam Howell's still a good quarterback. Drake May is still elite, and Jaden Daniels is going to be bad. Nothing has changed. There's no evidence that he's like, that's just the way his mind operates. And when you argue with people like that online, you're never going to get anywhere So there's no point in me going back and forth. Like, I don't know how many times I explained to this guy in the past. He keeps pulling up like my bet stamp record. He's like, well, Rob is a losing bettor. He pulls up the record from the Sunday morning show that I was doing where I had to grade against Pinnacle full market limits. And I would tell people at the start of every show, I don't bet 100K per NFL side, and I'm not going to beat this market. This is not where I do my damage. But he can't comprehend that, or he's trying to agitate me, which is working. So I just mute him and move on. But the fact that so many people did bookmark this, including DraftKings themselves, like their social media person's like, oh, one day, like we're going to go, just goes to show how much of a nuisance and how much dislike there is for this guy in the space. So I'm not a huge fan of DraftKings as a brand. I don't love the way that I bet. I don't love the way that they run their sports book. It bothers me. But this is an A++ tweet. And I don't care that he went back at them and said, like, then don't limit me, pussies. Yeah, you know what? That's actually not a bad dig, I will say, from Joe. It's a good response. But the damage is done in this one tweet here. So I fucking love this. I'm not going to lie. It was the first time I had heard Joe A's name in like 6 months. And I'm like, I forgot about this tweet. I'm glad someone fucking buried him for it.
Yeah, he's, I agree, like maybe the most annoying person on gambling Twitter, because like there are like the insane people who are annoying, but like they're easy to dismiss, but like he seems like he's like actually kind of intelligent, but just like so spectacularly overly confident that it's bordering on delusion. But also we talked about it on the show a few weeks ago when Polymarket tweeted that weird thing about like the NFL player like marrying like one of the people. It was like a thirsty tweet from Polymarket's official account. This is what that Polymarket person was trying to do. Like, this is just such a banger, such a good tweet. I agree with you. The reply is a good reply, but he's already buried.
But the quote tweet is like they're quote tweeting what's the worst tweet of all time. Like, that's what this Buffy S tweeted, what's the worst tweet of all time? It hits so hard.
Yes.
It's
just perfect.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty confident I know who at DraftKings sent this tweet, and it is not an intern.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, the plot thickens.
No, someone, I'd give their real Twitter, and you'd probably laugh at some of their tweets, but it's probably not.
I'll tell you this. Like, it is so good because Joe A's entire like existence, as I see it, on gambling Twitter, is just one giant validation quest. Like, he just wants to be validated as like the best film guy imaginable, the best bettor. And for them to tweet that and get so many interactions, like thinking he's an idiot, just kills that validation quest and makes him so much angrier. It's
and
like
you so much happier.
Yeah, it really. I don't.
You were just basking in him stewing.
I think every sport.
You got great joy in this whole thing.
Oh, 100%. I didn't even like people were. I got that sent to me by so many people.
Carrier pigeons.
Yeah, 100%. Like, sports bettors, really good ones, in my opinion. We don't all have the same personality traits, but I think that there is some ego that comes with good sports bettors no matter what. I think it's healthy. I think oftentimes it drives you to be a better bettor, but it's like the old Price is Right game where you have like the yodeler going up the mountain. You're trying to get as close to the top as possible without going over, and he's gone way over. Because I think you also have to have the ability to like learn from other people in the space and take feedback and really think about it. And I think he's past the point of doing that. And listen, whatever. I hope he wins at betting. I hope whatever. Like, I don't wish ill will upon the guy. Honestly, I don't. But there's just something that really drives me crazy about people who think that they have it all figured out.
But hold on a second. Like, his whole shtick is that he's great at betting and he's an evaluator.
Yeah.
Okay? These are two things that even the people that are the best at it come with huge failure rates. Right? The best GMs, the best front offices still have whiffed
100%.
on so many high draft picks, and the best bettors still miss on, 45% of their bets.
Yeah.
100%.
So, like, to think that you can be those things, sell yourself as that, and live in this bubble of perfect for everything is such a delusion.
While we were doing the show today, I got another Joey tweet that was messaged to me, right? So Will Levis is having season-ending shoulder surgery. His response to that is honestly good. Go get healthy and find a good offensive coach to join up with in 2026. Back up a shady/elderly QB like whoever's in Indy, Stafford, Love, Purdy, Tua, etc. Wait for your shot to start, but this time in a decent situation for once. Levis is still a good QB. Okay? I have my opinions on Will Levis where I think he's in a bad system and he might be better than he is. But there's nothing that he has shown, which any football fan has ever watched, which is going to indicate that he's a good quarterback. Like, he gives the ball away at will with the dumbest decisions. And that doesn't mean that he can't be. But because Joe claimed like 2 years ago when he was drafted that he's a good quarterback, he cannot take the new data that comes and like go back on an opinion. It's impossible for him to
Anytime
do that.
he's wrong, it's just the QB was in either a good situation or a bad situation, but he never got the evaluation wrong.
And there's nothing wrong with like, I'm still a truther of this guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it hasn't gone well, but I think in the right system, like, you know, Rob, you know me long enough, Sam Darnold truther.
Yeah.
He got into Minnesota last year. I was like, no, he's good. Like, the injury, Kevin O'Connell, like, this is my moment as a Sam Darnold truther. It came home, and I like peacocked about it. Like, you can still be your thing while acknowledging everything's been bad. There's a lot that he has done that has proven me wrong, but I still believe with the opportunity it works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rob, you like to throw shots and fire at people you don't like on Twitter, like Joey, but I think you may enjoy throwing shots and firing at people that you are like on good terms with, which is why this should be a very good return fire from you. You want to return fire to something that Flup said on the previous show, where Flup discussed knocking over chips at a poker table because Blesbets knocked over Jeff Nadeau's chips in that poker stream on Monday. Flup thought that it was fine and it eases the tension, something like that. You completely disagree with the notion that it can be a good strategy to knock over someone's chips.
Okay, so Flup was talking about this like, it's just like a funny thing to do.
It's
like,
an icebreaker.
yeah,
It's a
like, you just
combo
knock over the
starter.
Okay, I've played a lot of poker in my life, in person, right? Lots of table games. I played for a living when I was younger. I don't know, 3 to 5 years of probably playing 40 hours a week. I'm not a pro poker player anymore, but I've played a lot. I have never, ever played in a game where someone intentionally knocked over someone else's chips, ever. And I can say with confidence in any game that I played in, if someone else did that to someone else, it would not be viewed as like this, oh, ha, ha, I knocked over his chips. Like, they would get punched in the face. Like, first of all, it's a nuisance for fucking everyone, including the dealer, who's like trying to figure out where these chips went, whose chips are who. They got to stack them up again. It just like delays the game for everyone. This isn't like the 4th grade. We're not children anymore. I cannot believe that was his take on this. And then he went out and been like, I can say that anyone who doesn't believe like this isn't a thing, like they haven't played in like high stakes games. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. He missed so far on that segment. Do not knock over people's chips. It is childish, disrupts the game. Honestly, my respect level for Flup was at a low. It somehow has gotten low. I mean, it was at a low because I think of what's coming next in the script here, but it got even lower than that.
You have to know someone so well to think that could go over well or is part of like a continuous rib that you and a friend have. I'm not a poker player. I've been to a couple like poker rooms around Chesswood Arena. Maybe you were in those.
Some units.
I was like intimidated as fuck. Like the 3 times I was in there, I would have been scared shitless to touch someone else's chips, let alone knock them.
I actually feel bad when like people's chips like accidentally fall over. I actually feel for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny, but I've probably played poker twice in my life, so I really have no clue. But when I watch it, especially
I don't know if you saw, like, the guy throws a chip from the other side of the table
Yeah.
to Seablaz to pay him to do it.
I
And
know.
then goes, now, or something.
It's pretty embarrassing all around. But you know what? If you ever play one of those Hustler Live games, we'll put you next to Joey Toons, and we'll have you knock over his chip stack and see what happens. in
Perfect.
that
I don't
game.
think I honestly don't even know the rules.
I hope Jason apologized to Nadeau.
To do.
Yeah, for not believing in him last
Well, I
week.
didn't either. So
I was above 50%,
sorry,
right? I think I said 60% chance
you
he
said
was
60.
flying.
I said 30. Jason said 15. I think Geoff said 61.
Yeah, you got me, Geoff. As
the
Dustin
biggest
Gauker would
believer.
say, we were right.
Biggest believers. I was not a believer. That's not all we have for Flup, as Rob was kind of hinting at, because Flup, on the previous show, we brought up the Kalshi market on the astronomer CEO and the probabilities of him stepping down or getting fired before the end of July. Flup, while live recording Circle Back, placed a bet on no, he would still be on the no, therefore saying Andy Byron would still be CEO as of August 1st. And then like a day or two later, astronomer CEO Andy Byron stepped down as role as CEO after the Coldplay concert incident with his CPO. And Dips responded at when you dip, we dip. Says, well, at Flup, hashtag circle back, which you can always use hashtag circle back for any tweet to alert us to put it on the show. Michael Plishka at GTM Plishka says, Flup, you sure are good at this betting thing. Hashtag circle back. In fairness, all four of us were in agreement. All four of us being myself, Joey Knish, Flup, and
What do you mean,
China.
in fairness? That just means the entire show was... You know,
I'm saying in fairness because we were all wrong, not just Flup. But
Oh, I
Flup,
see.
Flup took the biggest beating out of all four of us for online. But we all said the same, and we all kind of agreed with him.
Since like winning the Circa Survivor, the one-time contest champion,
You can't
Flup,
ever take that away,
You
Rob.
can't take it away. This guy's batting like he's got to be like one of his last 20. I mean, if you know how the young kids nowadays, they use like the infinite money glitch. If you want the real infinite money glitch, you watch the Friday episode of Circle Back. When they talk about a Kalshi market and Flup or Knish,
Knish hit the hot dog
is
one.
is very passionate about one take in one of those markets. You can bet the other side, and it's probably good. I'm not saying certainly. I speak in probabilities.
Bet on the Kalshi market we discussed. Bet on there being no change to the one big beautiful bill for the gambling
infinite money glitch. The fact that this happened so quickly after they were like, oh, "Are you guys crazy? You know how long it takes for these types of things to escalate up the ladder and this and that." It happened the next day. Can't write this stuff. Cannot write it.
Pretty good.
That's really funny.
Before we go to our next topic, we're actually hear a word about Kirk's hammer, so we'll take a 30-second break. What's up, guys? Jacob here. If you like the content we're putting out and want to get even sharper as a bettor, you need to subscribe to Kirk's Hammer, our free newsletter. Kirk Evans is one of the smartest people I've worked with. He breaks down the market strategy, modeling concepts, and betting theory in a way that's actually digestible. And with football season around the corner, the newsletter's only getting better. More insights, more value, fewer Zilbert-style show-me-the-records debates. Hit the link in the description and get signed up. It's free and it's worth your time. Last full take. Sometimes we like to bring in some topics that are a little bit more generic, less about sports betting. We have one here. This was brought up on Pardon My Take, and it was a conversation surrounding the Mount Rushmore of worst places to be when violently hungover. So among the list here, there's a long flight, a funeral, jail, your own wedding, sports practice, car ride. I think that the best thing on this list, like the worst place to be hungover based off this list, is Disney World with kids, because you've got all the rides you have to go on and stuff while you're hungover, or a child's birthday party, something like that. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What would be the worst place to be hungover? And if anybody listening or watching has something, make sure you comment it down below. What is the worst place to be hungover? Let's start with you, Geoff. You're thinking very hard. What's top of that mind?
Anywhere without a chair. Like, that's why the funeral wouldn't bother me. School, like anywhere I could just sit there and...
School's never an issue.
Some of these are fine.
Like, the sports practice on that list to me is the worst. Like, if you've actually got a coach that's going to ride you and you're hungover, like, I'd be screwed. But even a plane, I feel like I'd survive. Just, it'd be tougher, but...
No, planes are tough. Long flight,
Yeah, but I'd knock myself out with something else.
I mean, I have a real tough time flying hungover. Like I really, that last night of Bet Bash is usually like the VIP party. That's the next day is the worst day of the year for me. It really is. I can say that with all, and that's like a 4.5 hour flight back to Toronto. Those are miserable. I think generally first of all, I gotta say I'm a sucker for drafts of any type, like any sort of drafting content. I'm gonna watch it. I always do. We're gonna be doing some of our own drafting content, by the way, over on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. You want to check that out? It's gonna be good stuff. Generally, I think the worst places to be hungover are places you don't want to be in the first place, because it's already going to be a shitty experience for you. You do not want to add the hangover on top of it. So for me,
Okay.
DMV or passport office, like waiting in line in a place you don't want to be, no comfort, no chair, like you mentioned.
Hot.
Disaster. Definitely don't want that. Second thing, the dentist.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I know you're in the chair, but you're hearing the noises. You already don't want, like,
Picking around your mouth.
That's a great pick.
like out
Got
of
the
12
weird
picks
flavors.
Yeah,
here,
your gag reflex
Yeah,
is probably
yeah,
not
exactly.
at optimal.
That
like
honestly
that
makes
could
my
end
stomach
so
sick.
bad. Yeah, that's not good.
I hate being in the dentist.
I hate the dentist. I hate the dentist.
I guess like someone else's kid's birthday party where
Disney
like-
World with
You have to make
kids.
small talk with other parents,
Yeah,
and you're
you're
just
not, like-
loud.
there's really no place for you to sit. Like there's a couple places to sit, but there's like a mom with a newborn and an old person where it's like you're just and you're dead. You want to die.
Like a festival would be bad too, I think, because of like the heat. Usually there's summer.
Yeah, but
a lot
you
of people around.
If you're doing festival, then you're like re-upping and you're like you
Yeah,
have a
it's
lull,
true, your hangover-
but you're just trying to find your new wind.
yes,
Yeah,
got it.
that to me, what's missing on the list is what kills me in a violent hangover is like a hot, sunny day, like being outside. So like a golf round that you have to walk, if it's like 30 plus degrees, you're dying.
Dead.
Like
Dead.
anything outside
Dead.
in 30 degrees where the sun's just shining on you, that kills me violently hungover. I can't even, like, if the sun even gets in my eyes a little bit, I'm dying.
I think
if I'm
a
hungover.
decent one would be if you're on a vacation and there's like a day set out where you're going sightseeing, you have to walk around the city in
Yeah.
extreme heat.
Yeah, like a hike.
True, you got messed
as
up on the
well.
resort at that all-inclusive, and then you're going to Chichen Itza to see the pyramids in the
Yes.
middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
No
Absolutely.
shade. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, violent bus rides. Those roads in
yes.
Central America and the
Yes.
Caribbean.
Some of those
are not like
those
here.
windy road,
Oh,
one lane.
man.
Oh yeah, kill me.
Good one,
Yeah,
Jacob. That was a good one.
like you're boating out to some place as well, where you get the seasickness as well,
Yeah.
burning sun,
I've
to
experienced
like
that before.
snorkel or something.
I flew.
Snorkeling would be just,
Yeah.
you have to hold your. Oh my god.
One year, I accidentally. Not accidentally. I just didn't realize that when we were flying to Mexico, which on the Riviera, my side, we flew into Cozumel. Cozumel's an island, and I got tanked on the plane. So we showed up there, and there's a ferry that takes you across,
Brutal.
but it's like the fucking choppiest water. And I was just trying so hard not to barf. And there's guys walking around the ferry with bags, right? And the guy'd be like, "You need one?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna be okay." Then I'd be like, "How much longer?" And the guy'd be like, 15 minutes. I'm like, "Okay, I can." Then I'm like, "How much longer?" He's like, "About 7 minutes." I'm like, "Give me the goddamn bag. Like, I'm done here, man.
Done.
Couldn't hold out any longer."
All right, make sure you let us know again, maybe some of your worst hungover spots or nightmare stories that you may have. We'll be sure to review them and potentially feature them on next week's show. Finally, we are at the segment that is the chopping block. These are the segments that don't require full-scale talking segments, but we want to discuss a little bit at the very least. And the first one up here comes from Kirk Evans himself, who says, Shane Gillis doing a hilarious set to the exact wrong crowd at the ESPYs makes it even funnier. So if you don't know, Shane Gillis, who is a comedian, hosted the ESPYs this year, sports awards show, and it was not the right crowd for his style of comedy. I think that certainly had to be what he was going for, though, Kirk.
Yeah. Shane Gill's by far my favorite comedian right now. I think he's just hysterical. And it was so obvious even before it happened that the crowd was going to hate it. And Shane also, and I don't even love this about his bit, but when he's doing something to a crowd, he's kind of live commenting on how
I
the
love
jokes
that
are
though.
going.
Like he's playing into it. He's like, wow, I really thought that one was going to hit. Like, you know.
So it made it even funnier because it was so obvious that it wasn't going to work.
I love, I really have something for like awkward comedy. My favorite set, rest in peace to Norm Macdonald, but it was, I think, the Bob Saget roast where Norm Macdonald did a really, really weird. I mean, if no one's seen it, you should look this up.
I haven't seen it.
It's a hilarious set, but it's hilarious because it got no laughs and the jokes got like increasingly more terrible, which I think was intentional.
Intentional. I've seen it.
To the point where he's like, "Come on, you guys didn't even get that one." Like, you know, Norm was so good, but this Shane Gillis was great for this. I thought it was so good.
Shane killed it. Shane's hilarious. I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I think too, in the comedian circles, they know that SP's room to be like the worst in comedy.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a
Way
tough
worse
crowd.
than like a music awards or a Emmys or anything. At least they're more prepared. Athletes and people around athletes, they're the least funny, take themselves as serious
Yeah.
as
point.
anything, even
think
more
just out
serious
of
than
touch.
A-list celebrities.
They're just out of touch athletes as well.
Yeah.
They're just never online. They just don't. Just not involved with comedy at all.
Maybe so. So it's a tough room, and he rocked it despite them not playing.
That tush push like vignette that they did,
It was
that was fucking
It was
dying.
really funny. Also, his wife, his friend's wife, saying 4-time WNBA All-Star.
Oh yeah, because nobody. He's like, I knew you guys didn't know WNBA players. That was good. Moving on. Shane Lowry certainly didn't find anything funny about playing at the Open Championship this weekend because he had another blow up. And as it was reported here by Austin Sappin, Shane Lowry has now said, quote unquote, "Fuck this place" at 3 of the 4 majors this year. He'll be looking for the Grand Slam in 26. And it's a video of him saying the exact quote, "Fuck this place" at all 3 of the majors played so far this year. Most recently, again, the Open Championship that was over the weekend. But one of the bigger stories that came out was this from Kyle Porter at Kyle Porter NS. Lowry seems like he doesn't agree that the ball moved. This is in relation to a penalty. It was a 2-stroke penalty.
Very clearly moved, by the way.
A
on
2-stroke
one camera
penalty
view as
where
well.
he took a practice shot. He kind of grazed the grass and the ball moved a fraction. Now, I think it's very clear on video that it did move as well. He said he wishes there were more cameras on it, but accepted the penalty because he didn't want to be called a cheat. I think he specifically said he didn't want to be called a cheat by, was it Twitter mob or something like that? Scotty Scheffler added that Shane was put in a tough situation, but handled it very well. It seems like the footage is pretty obvious, ? I agree.
Yeah.
But there were also other videos in which it's not obvious, which is probably what they were looking at. Geoff, you felt strongly about this one. You have very strong opinions about Shane Lowry in general for his very diabolical behavior on golf courses, so I'll let you have the floor here to start.
Thank you for noticing, Jacob. It is true, but it's also a bit of a victory lap because Shane Lowry's always been an irritable golfer. But I had noticed early in the year that he'd actually gotten worse, much worse, to the point that after the Masters, we suggested going into the second majors, the PGA, we now just need to start playing Shane Lowry bingo for majors because no one is safe from this guy. Like, he berates fans, he berates volunteers, he berates the course, he berates the media, and all along the way, he gets free passes because a jolly, smiling fat guy can get away with anything. With anything. There are so many golfers, us golf fans and media hold to account. This guy, the jolly fat guy who's best friends with the fraternity president, Rory, can get away with anything. The amount of free passes he gets is crazy. So for him to be checking bingo squares all weekend and then to have this incident where it is really fascinating, which is really all we should talk about, is that a pro athlete decided to, affect his score in some way simply because he didn't want to deal
with the Twitter mob.
With the Twitter mob. So to that, I say, cheers to all of you. Golf Twitter, pat yourself on the back. Okay? Someone's got to keep these guys in line. If they're not going to, Shane Lowry sure as hell ain't going to respect the game. We can. Congratulations to all of us for holding the line and making him take a deserved penalty. Unfair for 2 strokes for something that innocent. But the rule is the rule, and we should be proud of ourselves that someone capitulated because of us. It is a badge of honor.
I will say, to the latter point about the Twitter mob, there's been plenty of times where I have not tweeted something because I knew what the repercussions would come of making that tweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Twitter mob is very real on the gambling Twitter side of things as well. I've Kirk, for example, like, you tweet something stupid and Kirk's going to find it and he's going to let you know it's stupid. So I get that from that point of view. But with Shane Lowry, I don't think that there's like a larger disconnect between who the person actually is and who the casual fan perceives them as than Shane Lowry. And I actually think it is because he is like a jovial fat guy with an accent. Like, I hate to say that, but that's what it is. Like, people don't view him like, if this was Wyndham Clark, like granted, that's another level of...
Yeah, that's another level, but yes.
But he's villainized in a way...
No free passes. Wyndham Clark mutters something that gets caught on the microphone, we will be hard on Wyndham
riot.
Clark.
Yes, exactly.
Right? We like to hold him... Just like with Twitter, when someone tweets something we don't like, we just hold them to more account than someone who we give in some grace and some equity to.
But look at the screenshot of the first one here, Jacob. Just back it up. So in this clip where he's saying, fuck this place at the majors, right? So he like chunks a wedge here. Then he proceeds to take a giant fucking divot out of the ground with an angry swing. Like, no one's allowed to do this stuff. It's a disgrace.
Kirk, you might not know this. This past week, Royal Portrush, he is the defending champion. It is Ireland. There is a mural on the wall, on a full-size wall in town. No place is safe from this guy. If he's saying, fuck this place to Royal Portrush, he would walk into a children's hospital and say, fuck this place. There is no sacred cow to this man.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. I just know, and I think I said this for the Wyndham Clark as well. A little known fact about me, I am a fucking hothead.
Yeah.
So I know if I was a professional golfer, I wouldn't berate fans in the media, but I would lose my entire mind. So I know it's a bit hypocritical for me to criticize him, but I agree with everything you guys are saying.
I never got that from
I
your
actually
Twitter
want to
account
say,
either, by the way.
in closing, it makes it more entertaining. There's something to watch.
We
It's
get to talk
clippable.
about it. Yeah.
We get to talk about it. My true only issue is I feel like he gets free passes because other guys don't. And the only reason I can think is a fat guy with a smile can be very disarming, after the fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think in general, free passes go out to content creators like this who do casino-related content, and we have somebody here, no context humans, at humans no context, really posted. Trainwrecks, who is a streamer, just hit the biggest slot win ever, $37 million. And Jason Strasser, at Strassa2, says, so we legalize sports betting, fine. But this type of advertising needs to be illegal. 15-year-old boys are watching this content, and it's messing them up. For the same reason we don't allow cigarette ads that glamorize smoking, we shouldn't allow this. So a lot of this criticism stems from, rumors that are circulating regarding online casinos, especially for streams like this. Like the streaming site Kick literally exists because Twitch stopped allowing online sports gambling content to be portrayed in their platform. So an online online casino made a streaming service specifically to allow this type of content. And the discussions around it are that oftentimes these streamers are given fake wins to help with their advertising. So I think that's what's being referenced here a little bit. So how do you guys take this sort of content in this space?
Whether it's a fake win or a real win, it's serving the same purpose, right? It's like a 15-minute dopamine nuke for someone who's watching this and doesn't understand how casino works. I have a good friend, Todd, who tells me all the time that like his teenage daughter asks him for money. And he'd be like, what for? And he'd be like, one of my friends won $8,000 playing online slots and I want to try. And he'd be like, no, stay far. And like those are the repercussions of this type of content. It's the same reason that like smoking cigarettes was banned in ads, because it comes across as looking cool and no negative effects to all of this. So I mean, to me, this is the most dangerous type of betting content that there is out there, because anyone can look at someone spinning a slot and be like, that could be me who could have won $37 million. And it leads down a very dangerous path.
Yeah, so we talk about like banning ads for gambling on during sporting events, but exactly like you said, this is so much worse. And it was 2020 that this was like really popping, stuff like this.
Yeah.
And everyone was doing it. The money getting thrown around to these streamers was so spectacular and unbelievable that it's like hard to fathom how much they must have been converting people into like casino players. So yeah, this is just like bottom of the barrel, has to be stopped type of stuff.
It's all scary. You almost wish, because the casinos would never. But, you should almost allow, like, ninth graders to take a class in the casino where they just watch the slot players for 3 hours. It'll scare the shit out of them, and they might never want to do it. Well, the teacher is there explaining, that guy's here every day. He's a loser. His family left him. It's his day. This is his. We talk about a lot of things on the show. We make fun of like Win It or Pick It and what's the other one? Dub Club.
Yeah.
This is like fentanyl to that.
Yeah.
Like it is so much more dangerous. We almost don't even give it the respect of how gross it is in this program, but it's not really sports betting.
Yeah.
Follow T-Bone for a day. New school initiative.
That's his next visit. That's
My next
Jeff's
visit,
next
I
trip.
want to do Geoff Nadeau's birthday party.
Okay.
That would be good.
I
Well,
want.
I gotta have to wait a full year now.
Yeah, I know. Maybe there's something in between, but I think behind the scenes of Geoff Nadeau's birthday party, I think it would play well.
Well, it's an open invite, so just go next year.
How about a Joey Knish like lunch meeting or something like that? As well?
Could you
Like
imagine?
in his
Joey
day job.
Knish in a
Joey
serious
boardroom
environment.
presentation.
It'd be more like meeting Joey in Windsor as he's cashing his, getting his pro line tickets.
Comes across the border to play pro lines.
That's good.
Never make me laugh.
We don't even play them.
He's a mover. You got to get down wherever he can. That's the rule.
The next tweet comes from the degenerate at the DGen Weekly, who does sports betting content online. And he says, sports fans should treat the offseason like athletes and take care of their bodies. We have a long season of wings, beer, whiskey, cigs, etc. Now is a great time to eat a salad, handful of blueberries, or an apple goes a long way. It's crunch time. Knock wood if you're with me. Rob, you're in agreement with this strategy. You treat your body a bit better in the summer?
I do. So it's because I have more time. I will say, listen, if you're a sports bettor, you bet however the fuck you want to bet. If you have like an edge on sports in the summer and you got to grind it out because it's going to improve your livelihood, sure, go for it. This is kind of how I approach non-football season and non-hockey season. Once the hockey season is over, I have the summer months. I golf a lot. I exercise more. I won't say I cut out booze because I don't, but I eat way more salads. I kind of take care of my body a lot more because I know the grind that's coming up during football season where I'm going to be at my desk. Fucking my back is going to be shaped like a question mark because of my horrible posture all day long. I'm going to be ordering food nonstop because I don't have time. So I kind of like the general premise of, if you don't bet sports at a certain time of year, you don't get enjoyment out of them, maybe take some time off and do something else that's going to improve your life.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I always have a hard time with it because I tell myself I'm going to be slower in the summer, and then just like I am a bit, but never as much as I'd like to. But yeah, like if you're grinding 14-hour screen days for 5 months straight of a season, like you need to give your body a bit of a break.
Yeah.
I mean, I just look at it from like my own POV, and I know every Sunday night, like I am disgusting. And by that, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like my brain will convince myself like the day went great. I'm treating myself to this fucking feast because I crushed it today and the Bolts won and I feel like $1 million, or it's no different. Today was really bad. and I earn this fucking I earn this loan thing that'll make me smile, and it's just a disgusting, whatever it is. There's it's either way disgusting.
Like I go through during football season. I mean, I'm on Uber Eats nonstop, and you hit that offers button, you're gonna get the offers on like the absolute worst food, and I just cannot help myself. I'm like, you're gonna give me 2 Big Macs for the price of 1. I am fucking in. 2 hours later, very regrettable. So I do like to use the summer to maybe.
It's funny. I actually find myself in the exact opposite territory. We're in the summer. It's patio season. I'm out with friends a lot more. I'm out playing sports, and after sports, somebody's got a cooler, so I'm having some drinks. Whereas like during the season, I'm at home working a lot more, so I'm at home a lot more. Therefore, I'm cooking for myself a lot more. If I'm out, I'm not eating out as much. I'm not drinking as much when I'm out. So for me, it's the exact opposite. I'm in a different boat for you as somebody who consumes sports with like sports betting and whatnot. But for me, I'm much healthier not in the summer compared to the summer.
The one pushback I would have on this tweet is, I mean, I don't know that a handful of blueberries or an apple goes a long way.
I agree.
Like
that needed to be said.
Yeah, like if you're eating like fruits and vegetables consistently, that probably goes a long way versus, I mean, a handful of blueberries.
One time.
I mean, the battle is just like not eating late because I'm a skis bot. Like, just
agreed.
That is like,
yeah.
Had a buddy just lost
tons. It just has to be healthy stuff.
The problem is that myself and Geoff like to indulge in maybe some.
I love smoky. My buddy just lost tons of weight. Like, how'd you do? He goes, I just stopped eating late. That's literally all I did. I haven't even changed my lifestyle. Yeah. So I can't do that. I got to figure it out.
My advice: eat less. What you normally eat less of that, and you'll probably be also okay.
Yeah,
like
but
just
then I feel hungry.
Down a bit. Anyways, we have the next topic that comes from Gingy Betts, who talked about roasting people for having 9-to-5 jobs while still in sports betting. So there was an interaction between Buttshot Betts, hopefully I said that right, and Shug Picks. Buttshot Betts says, please go back to photoshopping your picket results, big dog. And Shug Picks says, I've posted 10 plus pickets and juice reel screenshots at the end of every month. There's no proof of any Photoshop. Up 17K to start this month. Keep posting your $100 slips, big dog. Let me know if you need advice. And the reply was, start posting your slips, then you can start unit shaming people. You're not up 17K. Please stay anonymous and keep scamming folks. Maybe one day you'll quit that 9-to-5 you're working, big dog. And then Gingy Betts took a screenshot and said, we have now reached a point on gambling Twitter where being employed outside of gambling makes you some type of bum. Jesus Christ. How do we feel about that?
Is Buttshot Betts someone, does he sell picks? Do we know?
So that's, I don't know on this. I also would say that's Buckhop Betts. Remember like Clay Buchholz back in the day? Didn't he spell it with 2 H's?
Maybe.
2 H's is a K?
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I don't know if he sells picks or not.
I'll look.
That kind of, I don't know that it does change it for the purposes of this discussion, but I know what you're going to get at.
It just feels like in the conversation we had
like
about
that's
the fake
not a
Sharp
9 to
tweet,
5, I would say.
The fake Sharp tweet of like, it's hard to, it feels like a guy who conflates winning in betting with selling picks in betting.
Yes.
Because he probably, and I could be wrong, tell me if I'm right, but he's a guy who sells picks.
Doesn't look like a pick seller, just somebody who posts picks.
Okay. Someone who posts picks? All right, so maybe I'm wrong, but yes, everyone should have, the vast majority of people should have 9-to-5s and stay in their 9-to-5s.
So both of them post picks, but for free.
Got it.
What I will say about the whole 9-to-5 discussion is like, I'm never going to slam anyone who wants like stability in their life. You listen to Kanish talk about it all the time, right? He like wants to work for a pension, which bettors don't get. And there's like lots of reasons where he can make both the betting side and a 9-to-5 work. And I might needle him every now and then for the 9-to-5, but I don't disrespect it at all. With that said, I do think it's fair if like the better gamblers are going to call that into question.
Yeah.
I think you can expect both that. Like I do content, right? I do lots of stuff for the Hammer. I run the business myself. Lots of people will say to me or talk about me and they're like, Rob lost his edge, or like, look at Rob. He's got to do like businesses and betting rather than betting. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't bother me at all because I expect that. And I actually think it's fair criticism. Like if you are going to be a great bettor, I think you can look down on people that bet and work a 9-to-5. I think you can. I don't do it personally, but like, I don't know. I would just like brush it off completely.
To me, it's just, you can do that only if they're like being aggressive towards you and like are saying wrong things. Like this just kind of seemed like a total nothing, and then he's criticizing him. So I don't really get where that came from. But yes, I agree. If it was like someone was trying to like big time you, and you were like, you still work a 9 to 5. Clearly your betting's not going that well. That would be fair, but this to me seems mostly like a nothing.
I got nothing on this, so I'll use my chance here to talk about, because we're at the end. The cat is out of the bag. I was in Chicago last week to visit George. Oh, shit. Thought we were done.
No, go ahead.
Keep going.
I was in Chicago last week to visit George. We got lots of great footage, lots of
GRP
gold.
wins, by the way.
We got to put that together. But I just want to share a quick story off film that certainly couldn't be filmed. On the way home, I got randomly selected at customs and got pulled into the side room. Okay, I have nothing. I have literally just a knapsack. I'm there for 30 hours. I'm not worried because I have anything. But I'm starting to think like I have to explain this trip. Get there. Where were you? Chicago. How long? Like, I don't know, 28, 30 hours. What were you there for? Visiting a friend. How long have you known your friend? I'd say a couple years. How'd you meet? The internet. Obviously, that's like a red flag for customs because, like, you could be meeting up with like a deal to like maybe there's some shady things. And at which point, she was looking for more. So I pretty much believe I went on like a 90-second, 2-minute rant like I would do with a topic here where I pretty much explained what happened. I invoked that Zach Johnson lost a bet. Me and my friends find this guy who lives in the Midwest who dominates NFL sides and he's always going out for breakfast. Me and my friends thought it'd be fun to just go on a breakfast tour with him. I can tell you more, but I promise it gets weirder. It was enough for her to, like, after she had emptied my bag, to be like, okay, I guess this all adds up. But having to explain to, like, a Border Patrol person what I did in Chicago last week was one of the highlights of my trip. Obviously, there are no cameras there, but when I did text, like, Jason, like, I've been pulled to the side room. Like, I'd never been in the side room before, ever.
Oh, well, I've been in there many times, unfortunately.
What are you bringing back? Cash? Diamonds? What do they got you for? Or you don't have to talk about it.
I've done a lot of stupid shit. So, like, I would say this, probably not. So there's a 10K limit on what you can bring across the border, or else you got to declare the funds. Probably not a great idea when they ask you what amount of money you're bringing for you to say $9,990, right? Which is exactly what I did.
Soprano.
Which is the exact amount of money I have on me. But they're like, okay, sir, this room, all the luggage comes out, golf bag stripped. Like, they're looking to find toonies, loonies, anything to get you over that mark. So don't do that. Highly advised not doing that.
What's the threshold before they raise eyebrows?
I would
like
say
9736 or something.
Yeah, I don't even know.
You may as well just write 10,000.
Well, I follow Rufus's advice now, which was just carry a letter from your lawyer saying that you're a professional bettor or whatever. Present that to the border officer, which I do now. So that's one way to do it. But like also telling people you meet, like my friend Frank was getting married. This is many, many years ago now. But he lives in rural Pennsylvania, bordering on West Virginia. And I drove there. Now, I'm driving there for a golf trip, which we're going to play a few days before his wedding. And I'm meeting people that I've met through gambling Twitter that I've interacted with on WhatsApp and Telegram for years at this wedding that they don't have their own golf clubs. So I'm bringing 3 sets of golf clubs across the border, driving myself. And the border officer's like, okay, where are you going? I'm going to a wedding. Where does this guy live? Pennsylvania. Where are you staying? I'm staying in West Virginia. Well, I thought you were going to Pennsylvania. I'm trying to explain. My Airbnb's 10 minutes from his place. He's just on the border. Okay, why are you bringing 3 sets of golf clubs? I'm playing with friends there. Where did you meet these guys? I'm like, we all met on the internet. All right, sir, you're going to have to drive around the corner over here. They're like, what do you mean you met on the internet? I'm like, we met on Twitter. Like, we're just bettors. We started associating on Twitter. So I got 3 bags of clubs they're going through. They obviously think I'm carrying drugs across the border, but That's the problem with being too honest. Like, I want to be honest with people, with the customs officers, but you give information where they're like, this ain't adding up, man.
I just want to say George was lovely. He was lovely, and seeing it in real life, there's lots. There's lots, and it was enjoyable.
I wonder if the customs agent has told like every person they know
This story.
Like this rambling guy, he said he was meeting a NFL bettor who goes out for breakfast.
Yeah, George is. Sorry, you have anything?
No, like I got one of those like pretzel. Like at the airport in Chicago, I got this thing of like pretzels, like the soft pretzels, like nuggets. I guess I only ate half of it, so I had the other half in my bag. She was going through the pretzels. Like, look, like I guess she
offered
had
her one.
Yeah, she thought I had. I guess they were looking for something,
Looking for
but all
anything.
she got was a story about GRP.
Yep. And all you guys will get is some stories of GRP and George. Those are coming to the Circles Off channel in the near future. I've seen some of the content, and I'm not, no spoilers, but let's just say you're in for a real treat with some of this stuff.
GRP is so famous that Geoff and Jason have to fly out to meet him, but he is not famous enough to make Grok's list of the top 20 influencers in sports betting in the X community based on expertise, engagement, and impacts. It was ZK Fucks who asked Grok, the Twitter AI, can you make a list of top 20 in the sports betting community? Of the people listed, number 1, Philly Godfather, OG Handicapper. These are not my words, by the way. Callion Vegas, Sharp Picks. Let's see. Bill Crackman, Veteran Sharp, Ariel Epstein, Prop Queen, Brad Powers, Handicapper, Adam
Powers.
Chernoff, NFL Podcast. Any other ones I should shout out?
No, I mean, people could see the list for their own as well. I mean, we've kind of talked about AI before and like the issues with AI as it stands right now. Like, engagement in the betting space does not mean credibility, but a lot of people view it that way. And in the betting space nowadays, I mean, if you're just going to pull like the highest ranking sources, you're going to get a lot of stuff that frankly is wrong. And that's just the state of AI right now when it comes to sports betting. I don't want to be a hater here. I'm not going to call out individual people. You form your own judgments. But I would say that this list, if the goal is a curated list of top 20 influencers in the sports betting X community based on expertise, engagement, and impact, I will just say my list would look very, very different from what this list looks like.
Yeah,
You're just mad you're not on it, Rob.
I've been worried about AI for a while. Like me and my buddies talk about it, how it could destroy all of us. This gives me a bit more hope.
Yeah. Yep. Geoff, you're not on the list either. Sad day for the Circle Jerk crew.
None of us
Right,
made
fine
it.
sod.
None of us made it on the list, so thankfully we did have Rye Analytics at rjosephk99 who did the hashtag circle back on this one. And as a reminder, as we wrap up, any tweet you want to see featured in the show, you can reply to it with hashtag circle back to alert us to it. We always go through that hashtag to help pick topics for the next week's episode because we always want to know what you want to see. Make sure you comment something down below on this episode as well. Tell us something you liked, maybe tell us something you didn't like, and also make sure while you're down there to hit the like button to support the channel, subscribe to Circles Off, help us on the road to 20,000 subs. We'll see you again next time on Friday for more Circle Back content.